So for this guitar tone, we're going for a pretty classic metal high gain tone. And we're gonna use a 5150 as the head, and that's going into this Mesa cab with V30 speakers in it, which is pretty much my go-to for this type of music. And we're miking it with just a single SM57, which is how I've done 90% of the heavy records that I've worked on over the years. Just going for a single mic. You don't need 2 and 3, and you don't need to pair it with a ribbon mic, especially for this genre. You can get a killer tone just by putting this mic in the right spot on this cab. So this 57 is placed only about ½ an inch to an inch away from the grill, and it's positioned right where the dust cap meets the rest of the cone of the speaker. So it's helpful to use your phone's flashlight or just a flashlight to see through the grill and put the 57 right where those two parts of the speakers meet. So we're gonna start dialing in tone on the 5150 here. This is a go-to metal amp, sounds good on like almost any heavy record. I'm gonna show you some really easy go-to settings that you can start with on a 5150 that are gonna work as a starting point for like almost any heavy record you're working on. So go ahead, Sam. I'm just gonna play a bit of the track. Cool, so a couple of things to know. I mean, that sounds good like right off the bat. If you look at these settings, we have the gain down pretty low. That's something to note when you're recording. Usually use a lot less gain than you would, say, playing a live show. It forces the player to pick a little bit harder, which gives a more aggressive, energetic sound for one thing. It also just cleans things up because you gotta remember you're gonna have stacks and layers of guitars. So all of that gain and that hiss and noise really starts to build up. So I always try to kind of set the gain where maybe I would normally playing live and then just dial it back a little bit to almost where it feels a little bit, almost too little gain. And then I find that that's kind of the sweet spot to start from. Across the other knobs, start with the low around 6 to 7, mid somewhere 2 to 5, the high knob around 6 or 7. And then the resonance and presence, personally, I like to crank up around 8 or 9. And that's honestly a sweet spot. Like this whole tone from mic to amp and everything probably took us about 5 to 10 minutes to dial in. And I think we're good to go here. So we'll start tracking the part.
So I'm going to jump right into an example here. So these are 2 different versions of guitar tracks. Now, this one on the top here, right here is just our drum and bass stem, just for reference. Drum and bass there. And then this track here is an example of a guitar track that was just recorded with like one pass all the way through. So I just hit record, I let the guitar player play this entire section start to finish in one take and then doubled it. So we got left and right 2 tracks. And then below, we've got another example where I split up and actually took it in very, very small sections and then put it all together in a way that still sounds natural and clean, but it sounds much, much tighter. Now, the reason I wanted to do this quick little video is to A/B those 2 tracks, and I want you to listen to how the tone itself changes just from having different performances. So without further ado, let's listen to version 1. And again, this is just the riff played start to finish all the way through in one take. Now check out this alternate version. Okay, it's obviously way cleaner, way clearer. Let's go back and forth a couple more times just quickly here. So here's the old version, and then I'll flip again to the new one. Now this time when I flip back and forth, I don't want you to listen to the notes and the performance, but just listen to the tone. Listen to how the guitar sounds, like the low end, the fullness, the clarity, all that stuff. So here again is the loose version, and then I'll immediately switch back to the tight version. One more time, the loose one and then the tight one. Now, I don't know about you. It's not like a massive, massive thing. But I wouldn't say it's subtle either. I can hear a distinct difference in the actual quality of the tone itself. Like before we even talk about how much easier it is to actually hear the riff and the notes and how well it's played and all that stuff, the actual tone itself to me sounds bigger, fatter, fuller, thicker, and obviously has more clarity and tightness and punch to it just because it's played tighter. Now between these two takes, literally nothing changed in the chain. It's the exact same guitar, same player, same amp, same settings, same mic, all of that stuff. It's only the actual performance and really paying attention to get it really tight piece by piece. That's the only thing that changed, and it made a big difference on the tone. I'm going to turn these tracks up a little bit and let you hear one more time. And again, just listen to the difference in tone here. Here, once again, is the loose one followed by the tight one. Again, that's all just a difference that was made by performance alone and just paying attention to tracking it tightly, getting the best performance we can, no changes at all to the amp.